of the greatest college quarterbacks of the 21st century.
Yeah, this is an interesting piece that's brought up by ESPN and written by Bill Connolly, great college football writer. And it's that time of year where we got a little break and stuff. And you know me, I love my college football. So this is
you are a college
fun
football sicko. That's right.
I love it when you say that.
That's right.
And this was a fun little thing because when we talk about the greatest college football quarterbacks of all time and just in general, a few names come up. But when we talk about it from the 21st century, who would you think? Who comes to mind? Because they did a ranking of the top 75.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things that we could talk about if you want to, but the best quarterback is one that we could talk about. So who would you give the nod to? Because there's one that I particularly go up for all the time. And I understand there's a level of bias here, but it's because I seen it. Right? I seen it.
Well, okay. So the best quarterback for me that I saw personally, and Larry will appreciate this, Vince Young.
Yeah, that's fair.
2005 was one of the most spectacular feats of college football that I've ever seen.
Tejano Boy on YouTube echoes your sentiment. The thing about Vince Young that I will never get out of my mind, that dude was moving fast, but it looked so slow and fluid. He looked like he was walking on the field while he was torching.
Looked like a damn gazelle out there, just
cutting you up.
Gliding. And I saw that personally. I was at the University of Missouri in 2005. It was my freshman year of college. I'll never forget it. Texas at the time was still obviously in the Big 12. And Vince Young, with all the fanfare and the hype coming into that game, against what was a pretty good Missouri squad at that time.
Oh, and y'all had good squads? That's cute.
Relax. Had the number one team in the country at one point. 2007, shout out.
Just once?
Another story for another day. 3rd and 30. Never forget this. 3rd and 30. Momentum on the side of my Missouri Tigers.
Boo.
When I tell you, Vince Young got the snap, scrambled, made a dart move to about his right, cut up the field, ran for 31 yards on 3rd and 30.
I bet he looked like he was speed walking. Looked like he ain't getting. There was one foot on the ground at all times, didn't it look like?
My friends and I looked at each other and said, what the hell? Like, what is happening here? And Vince Young dominated the second half for Texas. They won the game going away on the road at Faurot Field.
And you remember that time that he repossessed the Heisman Trophy?
Oh! Okay, now let's run that back real quick.
Okay.
2005, Reggie Bush was so damn good.
Incredible.
It was so incredible.
Incredible.
You remember the game he had against Fresno State?
Actually, you know what? I'm going to make that. I'm going to go back and look at this.
I think he had over 500 total yards of offense by himself that day.
Actually, I do remember it now. I do remember.
He hit a move on the sideline where he literally stopped on the dime. Defender ran by him and ran for a touchdown. Look, Reggie Bush was incredible in college.
The things that he did to Fresno State should be behind a paywall.
Bro. But what Vince Young did to USC.
They should ask your age before you can watch that film.
But what Vince Young did in that Rose Bowl against USC, arguably the greatest college football performance we've ever seen.
Really good. Now, you could say greatest football performance. Bill Connolly does not say greatest quarterback of the 21st century.
Okay.
6,000 passing yards, 6,040 passing yards, 62% completion rate, 44 touchdowns, 28 interceptions, loads of rushing yards, 3,127 to be exact, and 37 rushing touchdowns. Maybe the single most amazing thing about Vince Young's career is that halfway through was a disappointment. And I think that's the tough part about making him because, terrifying runner, but the passing wasn't coming along, and then just all of a sudden it became a monster.
1 year was so spectacular.
Became a monster.
Yes.
So, yes, Vince Young, the 3rd ranked quarterback of the 21st century. How about this? The one that always comes to mind for me, personally.
I think I know where you're going with this one.
Where am I going?
2010.
Cameron Gerald Newton.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do for you? Auburn 2010 roster. I'm going to do something for you.
Boy, they smoked Oregon in that national championship game, didn't they?
He smoked. That's the point. He smoked them.
Smoked them Ducks, man.
Like, they're just he was out there solo dolo. You realize nobody else from that roster was like in the league. Only one offensive lineman took snaps in the NFL. They won a national championship, and it wasn't really a debate. Like, we all kind of saw it coming. That's how good that individual was, right? And the tough part about it is, like, it's one season. Because, like, he had a thing in Florida. He went to Blinn.
Right.
So, technically, his college career was 07 to 10, but it really was just 2010. 2,908 passing yards, 65% completion rate, 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Let me say that again. 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. 1,586 rushing yards, 24 touchdowns. Just supernova.
Did you say over 1,500 rushing yards?
That's right. He did it by himself. That's my thing. He just did it solo dolo. And that's the one that I have to bring up in conversation, because I know there's another one here in the top 4 that nobody has mentioned by this point. I'm surprised because people typically bring him up. Leader guy, all those things. By the way, Cam Newton, 2nd overall quarterback.
I think I have an idea who they're going to have at number 1. There.
All right, well, okay.
I'm going to take, I think I have an idea they got number 1.
Who do you think is number 1?
Tim Tebow.
He's not. Tim Tebow
Really?
ranks 4th. And that's the thing. Tim Tebow was a college quarterback. Like, I'll say all sorts of terrible things about Tim Tebow as an NFL quarterback. He was a monster in college, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
And that's a great point, 806, just to go back. Gus Malzahn was the head coach. Gus Malzahn has never been considered a good anything at this point. Like, I don't even know. Is there anybody like
never
Gus?
Has been, never will be.
Is there anybody that's like Gus Malzahn? Well, you know, he was just
Actually,
more.
that's not correct. You know who won that national championship that year? That wasn't Gus Malzahn.
No, that Malzahn came in after.
That's Gus. That's Gene Chizik.
Yeah, Gene Chizik. Yes.
That was Gene Chizik's national championship.
Because I was like, even. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. But yes, Tebow, incredible. 9,000 yards passing, 9,285 yards passing, 66% completion rate, 88 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. Once more, 88 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. And then you add almost 3,000 rushing yards, 2,947, 57 touchdowns. Right? 06, short yardage back, basically. 07, whole bunch of rushing yards. 08, he was like, I am the leader now.
I am him.
I am here to lead you to the promised land. And the fact of the matter is that he could. Like, everybody was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, he said that we should, so let's go do this.
Yes.
And this is the thing, right? The leader guy thing, I don't want, like, it can't be overstated, because you know the people that were on that roster? You remember an old dude that used to play for the Patriots that went to jail? He was on that roster.
Yeah.
You remember the dude that got thrown out of his job for kicking a kicker?
Yeah.
He was the head coach on that roster. You remember the dude that fought the strength coach? He was on that roster.
Shout out to Percy Harvin.
Well, like there was just a whole bunch of talent, but more importantly, personalities. And Tim Tebow was like, hey,
Yeah.
everybody, listen to me. This is how we kicking it. And that's how they kick.
And they were like, okay. All right, cool.
Like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Oh, that's a good call, 254. RG3.
Let me see. Where does because Robert Griffin was incredible. Also, mind you, while we talk about Robert Griffin, one of the telltale signs that it was over for Mac Brown at Texas, because that was one of the
when Robert Griffin came in there and pieced up Texas. Woo,
well,
boy.
it was before that, because Robert Griffin was one of the you want to play safety, young man specials, right? The dude who I think was out of Copper's Cove, incredible. And they were like, hey, man, you so good, but do you want to play safety? And Robert Griffin's like, no, I'll go play quarterback somewhere. And he pieced them up. 10th overall by Bill Connolly. 10th overall quarterback, obviously won the Heisman, all those things. Shout out to that man. Any other guesses, or do you want to just get number 1?
I hope he's not number 1.
What, on the 682?
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, probably number 1, and that is 100% correct.
Oh, all right.
Walked on at Tech, won the starting job, lost it to injury, went to OU, had that chip on his shoulder. The thing that made him so annoying in the NFL made him so damn great in college. Because he just, everywhere he went, he was like, oh, y'all don't want me? I'm going to show y'all in your face. And let me tell you these stats. 14,607 passing yards. I can stop there if I want to.
Yeah, you probably could.
69% completion rate.
Okay.
That's nice.
Yeah.
131 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. Gave you a little 1,000 yards rushing and 21 rushing touchdowns.
Did you say 131 to 30 touchdown to interception ratio?
He was so
Oh
good.
My goodness.
Remembering that he's undersized and that it felt like everywhere he went, he was the second option, kind of. Like he like the chip on his shoulder thing. I mentioned that because like when he became the first overall pick, we were like, hey, you got to drop that. But I understand why he wouldn't. It served him so well to that point. He was so damn good in college,
he was
guys.
Cold, yeah.
And I understand. Let me see.
What was that one time he planted that flag at Ohio State after they went to the Ohio State and won a road game there?
Yeah. And the thing about it is you just had to deal with it because he was so good.
I think that's part of it.
What were we going to do to him?
Somewhere where the heel turn started for him. Yeah. Yeah, Baker Mayfield was cold in college.
Someone mentioned Charlie Ward, and let me tell you, this is just of the 21st century.
Yeah,
otherwise,
21st century,
otherwise we would have had a very difficult time.
I'm trying to think of some of the other names that.
You just want to throw some names out that you think might have been on here. Somehow Aaron Murray made this list.
He had incredible numbers at Georgia.
Yes, he did.
Understated in terms of what he actually won there, but he was an incredibly productive player there in college. Marcus Mariota.
Mariota is 9th overall.
Jameis Winston.
That's a good question. I hadn't thought to compare them. Winston was 16th.
Okay.
Sam Bradford 15th, mind you. I think people forget because of all the injuries in the NFL.
Heisman Trophy winner,
He was so good at Oklahoma.
He was. I'm trying to think of some of the other names.
Former Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator Kellen Moore comes in at 14. There was a point in time, and I don't know if he still does, where he had.
He was the winningest college quarterback ever.
Yes.
Yeah, Kellen Moore was incredible in college as a college quarterback. Let me see here if there's any other names off the top of my head that I could think of.
Daniel McCoy, Colt.
Oh, that's your boy, ain't it?
12th overall, right in front of Johnny Manziel. How you like that? How's that feel? There's a big smile and a thumbs up from Larry Flores.
Oh, there you go. 6'8", Lamar Jackson.
8th overall. 8th of all time. And that's...
So who are the top 5?
Top 5. I mentioned that Baker Mayfield's number 1. Cam Newton's number 2.
Okay.
Vince Young's number 3.
All right.
4 is Tim Tebow. Joe Burrow.
Hey.
Because again... Now
one singular year.
We're back in these places where we're talking about the singular year.
Yes.
And if you want to compare singular years, Joe Burrow to Cam Newton, you can do that, but I wouldn't. But once you get past that singular year was so damn good that Joe Burrow is absolutely there at 5.
That was what, the 2019 National Championship team?
Yeah.
I mean, you think about we'll have to just run it down just real quick. Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
Jamar Chase.
Yes.
Justin Jefferson.
Yes.
I mean,
there's
just those 3 alone.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Clemson had no shot. Thank you, 214. That's sweet. Chase Daniel, where does he come in at?
Chase Daniel, I was about to say he should.
Did he make the top 75?
He sure did. Guess where you think he
Number 75?
No, he's much higher than that.
I'll go 55.
35.
Oh, really?
How you like that? 35th
I mean, he did take
quarterback of the 21st century.
He took my Missouri Tigers to a number 1 ranking. Back in 2007. That was such an incredible year.
There's a lot of different. Justin Fields, 29. Ben Roethlisberger, 28. A fellow nasty man, Deshaun Watson, is on here somewhere. Watson is 6th of all time. Trevor Lawrence is 11.
Oh,
interestingly
wow. Okay.
enough.
Okay.
Right after Robert Griffin. So, yeah.
That's a great trip down memory lane.
Yeah, I just found it really enjoyable to kind of look at some of these players and where we rank them, not based off of what they did in college or off of what they did in the NFL, but what they did in college.
That's why I thought Tebow was going to be number 1 hands down because, the lore of Tim Tebow and what he was in college was absolutely incredible.
Oh, where's Dak? That's a good question. How did I not think about looking about Dak Prescott? Because, again, he took Mississippi State
to a number 1 ranking,
which is just insane. And yet, and somehow, Dak Prescott, not top 75. But I guess that there's a reason why you had him as a 4th round pick, right? Like the college thing was not the huge selling point, I guess. Oh, no, 72.
Dak was at 72? 72. I mean, again, he took Mississippi State to a number 1 ranking.
Right after the weed man, Brandon Whedon.
Hey. That's right. No, that's a great trip down memory lane. Some of those college quarterbacks, just incredible. Some of those teams.
I'll tweet out the link to it because I can't give everybody the answer on who they were looking for. And reminding you again, the top 75 quarterbacks of the 21st century.